Hey up me ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome to the Hermit's Cave. Just gonna pop open the chat. I haven't lit any incense because I've got the fan blowing on me and I can just imagine, I don't know, I'll be like Kate Bush trying to perform Wuthering Heights. Your channel, where are we? Okay, there we are. It's great to see everybody. There's 35 people here waiting, which is just great. So I'll just do a collective hello to everybody. I hope you're all surviving, especially if you're here in the UK, on which this is the hottest day of the year so far. I do have some tea, but I've also got to get some water because it is so hot. And I don't know about you, but it just seems to get hotter as the evening comes in. I've been okay during the day while I've been working. But yeah, it's, and I know when we say this, other people, particularly in the States and abroad, are like, oh, that's nothing. But it's 82 currently and it's 8 p.m. And I think we got up to 88, which for the UK is really high. And I talk in old school. So I talk about Fahrenheit rather than centigrade. No, we don't call it centigrade now, do we? Celsius. Yeah, so anyway, it's so good to see everybody. I hope everybody's doing okay. So we're here this week for our Throwback Thursday. The vote, I took a picture. I don't even know if I've shut it down, you know. I think I did, but I might not have done. But the vote was, I'm sure I've got the result here somewhere. Yeah, so the Mystical Manga Tarot, 67% of the vote, and Le Tarot di Marseille par Polka, which is this one, this little creepy deck, got 33% of the vote. So it will get one more chance, and we will put it up against something else for next week. So stay tuned to the end to see hot. Hi, Adam. Yeah, so stay tuned to the end to see what we're going to put it up against for next week. So, Mystical Manga Tarot is what we're going to be looking at. And forgive me if I don't look down at, if you've been here for the last 11 months, you'll know that during Throwback Thursdays, rather than a cuppa and catch up, I don't tend to look at the comments that much. But if you do want to talk about the deck or ask questions about the deck, then you can tag me or put in capitals, but please, if it's about the deck, because for Throwback Thursday, it's quite a popular one for people to watch back because it's about the deck rather than a general chat. So, Mystical Manga Tarot by Ron, and the book is by Barbara Moore. And isn't it staggering? Well, it staggers me how many books Barbara Moore, accompanying tarot guidebooks, how many she writes, particularly for Llewellyn. She must be constantly writing guidebooks, because every time there seems to be a new deck out, Barbara Moore is the one who's doing the text for it. Now, this iteration of the deck, Mystical Manga, has been out since 2018. It was originally an independently produced deck called the Poison Cage Tarot. I know Sandra, who's in chat, has that, and she sent me some pictures, I want to say about a year or so ago. But yeah, I think I saw this first in Glastonbury at the back end of 2018 when I was with Giselle from Madwitch, who incidentally I'll be interviewing on Saturday. And I just fell in love with it. I think it is one of the most beautiful decks. And the cardstock, it's Llewellyn, is pretty good, actually. So, yeah, originally an indie deck called Poison Cage. You can also get an app for this deck. It's one of the Fool's Dogs apps. So if you've got an app store, whether you're on Apple or Android or whatever, if you go to your app store, you can get the Mystical Manga app as well. And it's a pretty standard app, so you get nice big colour images, the books on there and everything else. So I'm not sure if you can buy these, because sometimes the app works really nice if you don't get the full set, but I think the only way you can get this is this tarot kit. So let's have a look then. Let's have some water. It's so hot. How's everybody coping? I won't drink too much because I'll probably want to nip to the loo halfway through. So we have this beautiful image on the front. It's the Mystical Manga Tarot. And if people are into anime or the sort of manga, graphic comic artwork, then you will love this deck because it is just in that style. So it says, immerse yourself in the mystical energy and adventurous nature of manga. Capturing the beautiful style and spirit of Japanese graphic novels, Mystical Manga Tarot encourages you to step boldly onto the road of adventure and discover what mystical opportunities lie ahead. Ron's exquisite artwork brings each character to life, and they offer you the guidance needed to navigate the pages of your story. This fun, easy-to-use deck is based on the Rider-Waite system. And it is, but I do think it takes license as well to deviate a little bit, and I quite like that. If you are familiar with the Rider-Waite-Smith system, you will get on fine with this deck. You know, the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands are very in keeping and things like that, so you can easily recognise them. But there are some little nuances there as well, just to make it a little bit different. And comes with a helpful guidebook by Barbara Moore. And they always finish with this, don't they? Whether you're a tarot enthusiast, manga fan, or both, Mystical Manga will delight your mind and speak to your soul. I thought it was going to say, if you're an experienced reader or a complete novice, this deck is for you, because they all try and purport to do that. These Llewellyn packages are wonderful with the magnetic closure box. They are big, but I think they sit nicely on your tarot shelf, just like a nice big hardback book. Lovely for storage, really protects your deck. The inside is beautiful. We've got, that's taken from the Sun card, which is inside, which is a part of a greater image with the cards. Now, it's a cardboard insert, which they're okay. We've got that ribbon, so it's easy to lift out the cards. And it's pretty, you know, it's not one of those where they can slip through, but it is pretty naff. I prefer the ones that are plastic, like the ones the ones I showed the other day on the Schiffer deck. It just protects them a little bit better. So the box and packaging is nice. You get some card images on the box, back of the box. You also get a picture of what the book looks like. And this is the sides for your bookcase. Okay, so that's the box. Then if we have a look at the book, now I really like this book. It is, I mean, it's glossy, it's colour, that's the back of the cards, which is on the back of the book. It advertises also at the back other things like Kitchen Table Tarot, which was popular a couple of years ago when this came out. Some spreads. There's our book that we use for Tarot Playdate. I love that book. So it's got some nice other Llewellyn products, quite a big chunk. There is a section for you to write your notes in if you wanted to write notes. I was looking for the number of pages, but it goes up to 176, 175, but then there are notes pages at the back and then the advertisement. So you get about 175 pages of text. So it's quite a, everything is fine but no sound. Clay, you've not got no sound. Anybody else? Try leaving and then coming back and refresh. Can everybody else hear me okay? Just let me know whether it's just Claire or whether anybody else can hear me. All fine here. Okay, great. So beautiful. I do like these glossy colour images that you get in the book. Right at the beginning, you get about the artist and author, so a little bit about Ron and a little bit about Barbara Moore. This is just called the Mystical Manga Guidebook, copyright 2018. What I particularly love, you get your introduction, but what I really like is the second, well, it's actually called the first, but it's after the introduction. You get this glossary and frequently asked questions. And I was having a read through of this morning. So lots of people who come into tarot, and I remember being there as well some 4 years ago, finding this community and hearing people talk about certain things and not having a clue what some of the words were that people were using and going about with Goog and having a good look. But there is a glossary right at the front. So it talks about words that might be used, like arcana. What is an arcana? And it's from the Latin word for secret. So when we talk about major arcana, minor arcana, greater secrets, lesser secrets. Coins, court cards. So it's an ABC of glossary of terms relating to the tarot. Divination, layout. What do we mean when we say a layout? Major arcana, minor arcana, querent, reader, reading, reversal, spread, swords, tarot deck, wands. So it goes all the way through. But then this section it's quite interesting. There's most frequently asked questions. So things like, does the tarot tell the future? And of course, this is just going to be Barbara Moore's answers to these questions. How does the tarot work? Where do answers come from? Do you have to be psychic to read the tarot? Can I use the tarot to spy on my ex and tell me if my boyfriend is cheating on me? Are tarot cards evil? Which is really good. You know, there's a lot of people who are coming out of religion, myself included, that, you know, when I was kind of first looking at tarot, and it really helps you there. Do tarot cards require special care? We often hear, don't we? They've got to be wrapped in silk. They've got to be kept in a wooden box. Will cards show if someone is going to die? If the cards show an outcome that I don't like, what can I do? I think we've all found that. Some of us, if we're honest, will say, oh, I don't think I shuffled them properly. I'll just give them another shuffle. Why aren't there clear and agreed upon meanings for the cards? Aren't they sacred and unchanged from the start? Which are really, really good questions. Do I really need to have a code of ethics? So, yeah, and then it goes into how to do readings with samples. Hi, Essence. How are you, Neem? Why's my little candle gone out? I bet the fan has blown it out. That's the problem, I suppose. Yeah, look, the flame is dancing in from the fan that's over there. And I hope the fan isn't too noisy or distracting. It's just that I need it on. So you've got a whole section on that. Extra touches, beginning, ending, shuffling your deck, laying down the cards. It is so thorough. Practice spreads that you could just practice on, you know, before jumping straight in. And then it goes into the cards, and you get a lovely colour copy of the card. Loads of spreads as well, by the way. But what I like about this, there isn't a lot written. There is, you know, a write-up about the card, which is helpful, and then the divinatory meaning, then the advice given, and then if reversed, you ask. So I've never particularly bothered with reversals. You've probably heard me mention that so many times. But, you know, sometimes I always try and make sure my card's the right way up. I'll lay down some cards, and there will invariably be from time to time a card that's upside down. Usually I'll just turn it back round because, as I said, I don't read reversals. But I like the way this is phrased. If it's reverse, ask. And this is for the fool. Am I following my true intuition or being foolish? Am I letting fear stop me from living my soul's purpose? So rather than giving you a divinatory meaning for reverse card, it's getting you to think about a question that you can ask. And I can work with that, I think. So yeah, I just think it's a really, really helpful guidebook. And I think it can be used with any deck. You know, it doesn't have to be just to be used with the Manga Tarot. So, yeah. Okay, so the reason why I love this deck so much is just the colours are beautiful. We'll look at the cards and we'll do a size comparison because Llewellyn cards are normally just a little bit smaller than US games, and it is a smidgen smaller. It's probably better if I do it against a white background, so you can just see there, look, we're literally talking gnat's breadth more shorter. Cardstock is really nice because we always complain, and this was 2 years ago, so I'm not quite sure for this deck why they went with a thicker cardstock, but they are laminated, they are glossy, but they're quite a good sturdy deck, so I quite like the cardstock for this. Jodie would like to know why you don't read reversals. Just because I feel that I can glean enough information out of the cards using both light and shadow elements without necessarily and you know, I used to think, well, am I being lazy because rather than, you know, learning 78 images, is it that I just don't want to read 150, no, what would it be? 75 is 150. It's 156, isn't it? Is it that I don't want to learn 156 meanings? But it's not that. I just think for me, you can get enough out of the layout of the cards, the position, how they relate to the cards around them without having to learn reversal meanings. And I am somebody, when I do my spreads, I spoke about this with Rochelle on Friday night last week. Generally, I'll lay 9 cards, and my 3 at the top are the light and the 3 at the bottom are the shadow. And I know before I'm corrected that reversal doesn't always mean shadow, but it kind of brings up like blockages and things like that. So I just haven't really felt the need. I feel I can get enough out of a reading without having to learn reversals. That's not going to stay lit, so it can just... I'd rather have cool air than a candle lit. That's a cool way to see reversals. I don't read reversals, but I try also to keep the reversed meanings to mind. Yeah, exactly. I don't read reversals. So there's quite a few people that don't read reversals, and I don't think there's anything wrong with reading reversals. And particularly, like I said, with a book like that, I could work on a question to make me think a little bit more as to why a card might come upside down. There's also a part of me, controversial time now, where I don't know whether a reverse card is an actual card that's reversed because of other energies or whether it's just my poor shuffling. So I have to take that into account, you know. Unless I decide, you know, oh, I don't mind how I cut the pack, I don't mind which way, and I'll just shuffle them, and that's fine. But my cards are always the right way up, and if I shuffle them and I lay one down and it's reversed, I tend to think, well, I've done that. Does that make sense? Does will he leave his wife for me? Card is the Hierophant. Does will he leave his wife for me? Card is Hierophant. I don't know what you mean, Neem. And now Wasson doesn't read reversals either. Yeah, so, okay. So they're a little bit shorter than your average. They are, average tarot deck. They are shiny, as you can see. but they're not sticky or over glossy, but they do have quite a nice durability aspect to them. They feel quite sturdy, so which I think is quite nice for Llewellyn. And as I said, they have that anime manga style art, comic book, graphic comic novels. These are the backs. So talking of reversals, they are, you know, you can use them if you read reversals. I also love the colour tones used in this deck. So your minors are kind of, they've got colour tones to them. So there's lots of blues for cups, etc. But let's crack on and let's have a look at the deck. The need to read reversals is not necessary to get a card that is otherwise positive can yield a not so positive answer. The need to read reversals is not necessary to get a card that is otherwise positive can yield a not so positive answer. I need to think about that afterwards. I need to have a read of that properly because I'm not grasping it. Yeah, I'm not grasping it. Sorry. It's a hot day and it's been a long day. So here's our fall, which I think is gorgeous. There's lots happening in these images as well. I love this dog. Kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo. He's got that kind of look to him. And I love it because this one, you know, it's kind of dark at the background, and I thought it was kind of a nighttime scene. You could see the fool's journeys come along this path, but this is a sun. You could see the sun rays. But yeah, I really like that image. Here's our magician. They each have this design. So you've got this cutaway part, which is like a sun. You get a moon in each corner, crescent moon, and then this banner at the bottom. So the design is the same on each card. You've got the elements here. You've got the fire, you've got air, water, earth, all around the magician. I love the position of his arms as well, look. How they go, he's holding this cup here. He's got the sword over his shoulder as if he's about to, you know, fling it out with his intention. So you've got all the tools and all the elements around him, which is lovely. Our High Priestess is off the front of the box. And here she is with her knowledge, her scroll. This is like what you see when you go into the Jewish synagogues, isn't it? And you see these scrolls for the Torah. So it's very traditional and quite Japanese as well in terms of the design. It's a really beautiful card. Empress. She doesn't have a black and white pillow, she has two white pillows here. But pillars nonetheless, which is beautiful. Do you like this style of art? Here's our Emperor, very young looking Emperor, isn't he? I mean, people can be emperors at any age. You don't have to look back through history, but yeah, it's very rare we see a very young-looking emperor. I love the red curtain behind him as well. Here's our Hierophant. With the two supplicants there. We've got the hand gesture. Beautiful. Gorgeous. There's so much detail to spot though. I've looked at this deck so many times and I've worked with it over the last couple of days, but there's a lot of imagery and detail. I'm kind of envious of Sandra because she's got the larger cards, and I'd love to. I mean, these are pretty decent sized cards, but she's got the larger cards, and I'd imagine that the detail is much more easier to spot. And here's our chariot. He's got full armor apart from his headgear. I love the strength card. So strength is 8, as I said, this deck does follow the RWS, particularly with the minors, but there are some, as I said, some license here for a bit of a deviation from it as well in some cases. A lot of these feel like they're battles, particularly with like the chariot, the strength card. You see all this sort of armor and stuff because it's of a style, of course. I did bring them over for you to see, Simon. I know, that's what I'm saying. Seeing yours, it was like, yeah, wow. Oh, I drank a whole pint of water. The Hermit is beautiful. I really like this Hermit card. So here we can see her with her lantern, little lantern, but look at this smoke going up as well. I like the art in this deck, and I do dabble in manga. However, I'm trying to be more realistic when deciding a purchase. I think we all have to be quite realistic when we're making our purchases. It was payday today for me, so I always treat myself. And isn't it funny when you know you've got a little bit of money? And I looked at all the decks that I want to get, and then I almost didn't buy any because I couldn't decide. And I thought, this is ridiculous. When you're kind of a little bit tight, you think, oh, I want that. And then when you've got a bit, it's like, oh, I don't know what to get. But I use discernment. The Wheel of Fortune, I think, is so ornate and beautiful. Look at this. Isn't it gorgeous? And look at all this happening around it. These beautiful other wheels and designs. It's really intricate. The art style, it's quite busy, but it's beautiful. No, Encore didn't. Encore's just going to be too expensive to get from the States with shipping and customs and everything else. So I bought local. I bought from Little Red Tarot, and I bought from Book Depository, which is free postage. And there is a deck I'm buying from the States that Jen is going to help me to get as well. Here we have our Justice card. Again, stunning. I love, a lot of these cards have these beautiful drapes in the background as well. And we often see the importance of drapes in the Justice card, and that sword going above. She is blindfolded, she's holding the sword, she's balancing the scales. I'm not normally a wheel fan. Yeah, lots of people don't like the wheel card. I quite like the wheel cards, but that is a beautifully designed one. The Hanged Man. Look at this, he's really strapped up to his legs. But look at that topsy-turvy perspective. If you put him that way around, he's so peaceful. It's almost in like a meditation stance, isn't he? He looks so calm. So relaxed. So that's our Hanged Man. Not quite sure how he can look at the world from a different perspective with his eyes closed, but Jodie, Simon will always recommend the RWS. Are you talking about a beginner's deck? If you're talking about wanting to learn the tarot, my recommendations is always, a bog standard RWS, and get yourself, it's quite reasonable, something like the Tarot Bible. This is a bit digged up now, it's that old. And yeah, just play around, get to know the images, get to know some of the keywords. I'll put that back later, it's taking too much effort. The Death card is one of my favourite Death cards. I think it is amazing. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? I love the bareness and barrenness of the trees. It's just gorgeous. Beautiful card. Yeah, it is. Temperance is beautiful as well. And the Devil. It's quite alluring. I love the fact that he's half beast. He's got, hooven foot. Look at that, isn't it gorgeous? Look at his wings. It's almost like a Baphomet in, without the sort of goat's head. He's got the horns, he's got the wings, he's half animal, half human. Look at these, enslaved, bound. It's interesting, one's blindfolded, the other is gagged. Gorgeous card. Such a gorgeous deck, says Luna. Hey Lou, good to see you. And then we have the Tower card. I love this Tower card. At first I was thinking, it just looks like it's upside down, because they're not really in a falling position. They just seem so calm. If you turn it upside down, look, just so calm. Love the colours behind, blues and pinks and purples. But they're not that affected by their predicament. They're kind of accepting. We have the beautiful Star card. I love the colours of the Star card and the Moon card in particular. They're really gorgeous. And here's the Moon card. What I love about this is the towers. Look at them. Remembering that this is Japanese art, it's just, the towers are dwellings. Look at the colour, the pinks and the purples. Got the little crayfish crawling up here. Just gorgeous. Both of the dogs here. Really stunning. Ooh, let's try having some tea. So here's our sun card, and I love that sun. So as I showed you at the beginning, that's the sun that's on the inside there. So you can see it a little bit more close up. But wouldn't that make an amazing tattoo? I never did get my sun tattoo after I got my Deviant Moon and my Flying Skull. Isn't that gorgeous? And it kind of reminds me of the old Marseille style sun card rather than an RWS sun card with the baby on the horse. I think we used to see two boys, didn't we, with the Marseille, but this is just so beautiful. It's two children, beautiful sunflowers. Judgment. Now, every time, and I don't know if it's deliberate, because we've talked before about how our brains like to see order out of chaos, but I see a face here with shoulders. But when you look closely, it's two angels blowing the trumpet. I mean, it's symmetrical, perfectly symmetrical, but doesn't that form like head and shoulders in the sky? Almost like a deity looking down. Yes, I see it too. And I know it's just because it's a symmetrical image, and our faces are symmetrical. And all that is a flying heart and the trumpets and everything. But every time I look at that card, I see this beautiful goddess just looking down on these souls that are awaiting their judgment. Really beautiful. And then we have the world, and she's like Gaia. The world there in her belly. This reminds me of Gaia, which is wonderful. Beautiful. So that's the majors. And now we'll look at the minors. What time are we on? Okay, we've got a bit of time. I am literally pouring. Not a nice image, I'm afraid. But hottest day of the year. We can get through this. So we're going to start with the cups. I'll go a little bit faster. These are beautiful. Well, the whole deck's beautiful, let's be honest, but don't worry, it's very hot. I'm just saying, I'm perspiring. No, what is it? I have a glow. So there's our Ace of Cups. Our Lovers of the Two of Cups. I love that in the middle there. Yes, a glow. Don't go dripping in your tea. I'll try not to. What's the temperature? When I came on, Lou, at 8 o'clock, it was 82 degrees at 8 p.m. I think it got up to either 86 or 88 today. It's got hotter as the days got on, till about 3 o'clock was, I think, the hottest point. I think but for us, that's hot. We're not used to it. There's our three maidens. It's celebration for our Three of Cups. Such a joyous, happy card. The colours are beautiful. And I found that the minors are less busy. They're not as intricate. We're getting AC installed today. Wow. One of my favourite ever Four of Cups. As you know, I love the Four of Cups card. But I just think that is so beautiful. Look at the colours. That sunset. It's absolutely stunning. Again, I see another face. Do you see this face here? Nose, mouth, eyes, almost like a lion. Do you see it? 31 Celsius English. Yeah, sticky and awful. You remember well from when you was over here. But I love as well, you know, the Four of Cups, we used to seeing a hand coming out of the cloud. There's a whole spirit here, and it is just so gorgeous. I love this card. Totally see the lion's face. I'm glad it's not just me. Sorry if you heard that. Here's our 6. Did I show the 5? No, I've got that the wrong way around. Sorry. Here's our 5 of Cups. This is very RWS, isn't it? We've got the 2 here that are upright, focusing on this spill. It looks like spilled wine. I love this little palace in the distance. Look how dark the clouds are. And then we go to a very childlike Six of Cup. It's the card of nostalgia, childhood memories, which I think is adorable in this deck. Seven of Cup. I would have got a straw for that wine. You'd rather see a church fall, wouldn't you, rather than a glass of wine, Naomi? Love this card. Look at, again, the face in the sky. Beautiful. Look at the moon. Nine of Cups. Count your blessings. And the family card. I love. Look how the cups make the rainbow. Beautiful sun in the sky. I love the perspective looking from behind, which we do see in the RWS. This is more closer up, but you get that sense of them just enjoying quality family time, looking out on a beautiful either sunset or sunrise. Life's good when you look at this card. What's interesting about the miners is they all have this design in the background, and it's almost like a big glass window. So they're all there in front of this window with a different colour. So this is cups, so they're blue. But it's quite unusual. So we have a page and a knight. Look at that horse. Look at his horse, he's leading it. Isn't it beautiful? And then we have our queen and king, both with blue hair. Gorgeous. So then we have our wands, the fiery wands, and this is beautiful. Look at the energy in that ace of wands. Our two is facing us this time, but he's still got that world in his hands. You know, whatever journey he's about to embark on, then he's just got it there right in front of him. But I like the change of perspective. Okay, I'll talk about other decks at the end, if that's all right. Just because I want to focus on this deck for Throwback Thursday, and I'll take some questions at the end, if that's okay. If it's not to do with this deck, I'll take some questions at the end. Three of Wands, beautiful, beautiful sunset. These are the sunsets I'm fortunate enough to see, living up on the 19th story, up at the top of I could say the penthouse, but it's not the penthouse, it's just the top floor. But I see skies like this all the time, and I love it. I'm always stood at my window about 9:30 in the summer. A card of celebration, really gorgeous. Five, and now I like this Five of Wands. You know, we don't have the battle scene as such, but to me it's quite victorious. Six, the High Horse card. Seven, the Hermit's Penthouse. I really like this. So it's very RWS. We get that swift action, that movement, but look at these hands. It's almost like they're trying to grab them to stop something from happening, or hold on, grasp that energy. No need to apologise. No apologies at all. Not needed, Jodie. And like I say, you probably wasn't here at the beginning, but when I do Throwback Thursday, we just have 1 hour. So I like to focus on the decks. Lots of people watch these ones back because they want to see the deck. But then if we do some questions at the end, people that's watching this back can switch off. 9. I love this fiery energy. It's wonderful. Then we have the heavy burden. She's quite buckled over, look. You can tell that's a lot, but look at the sky. Isn't that beautiful? The pinks and the blues. The colours in this deck, in particular for me, are stunning. And I like the fact, here's our page, I like the fact that the knights aren't riding their horses, they're kind of walking with them, they're leading them. And they're really beautiful. And we've got these pinks and oranges as colours. And then we have our king and queen. Which are stunning cards. Beautiful. And then we have our sword suit. And for this one we have like silvery blues and greys. Really gorgeous. And the aces, if I was to take all the aces out, you'd see how similar they are in design. Let me give you an example. So they each have this very female-centric up at the top, above the cup. Again here, what we saw with the wands. And then here we have the swords. I love that, you know, very sort of samurai, because it's Japanese art, but that sort of blade in front of them, gorgeous. Yes, exactly, Jonathan. They're all of the same style, but there is a uniformity to the deck with the courts and also the aces that I've just showed there. We have a male in the Two of Swords, which is quite unusual. He has got his arms crossed in front of him. His eyes are closed. Here's our pierced heart for the 3. Four. I love this 5. Again, it's very RWS, but I just love it. I just love everything about it. I love the expression on his face. He might have won the battle. He hasn't won the war. He doesn't feel victorious. I love the shadows that are being cast and the position of the legs showing that they're walking away. The beautiful sky. I think it's such a stunning image. I love it. Here we have our 6, that boat. The card of moving on, moving away from troubled times to a more calmer shore. I love the eyes in the sky here. I think it's deliberate sometimes when we see those faces in skies, even if it's just a pattern of the card. I think it's just creative artistry. Here's our 8 of Swords. Gorgeous colours. Yes, B-Jam. Storms tomorrow. Another good storm I'm looking forward to. Typical though, it's not going to be nice at the weekend. I still haven't had a chance to break in my new walking boots. Beautiful weather. It might be too hot to walk today, but look at that. The Nightmare card. There is, again, it's what I see, but there is like a demon here. Can you see the eyes? The night demons. And the 10. She's pierced, she's punctured, but she's upright. She's embracing the pain. She's moving, she's looking forward. She's looking out. She's not down and out. I think it's such a beautiful card. I love, a bit like in the RWS, how it starts off a real black sky, but then gets lighter, indicating that the night is always darkest before the dawn, but the dawn always comes. The sunshine always returns. Here is our page. We get the steel blue of the sword. And our knight with his horse. And then we have our, I mean, everybody is pretty in these cards, but here's our queen and our king. I think they're stunning. It's funny that the weather is the same here in Manitoba. Wow, and expecting storms. Okay, so our last suit is the coins. Now, they're not called pentacles, they're called coins. And again, very same art style for our ace. I love that her hand is coming down below the coin, almost like she's kind of holding it up. Look, I love this. You know the old famous Japanese paintings? But look at the boats on top. We're used to seeing those boats, aren't we? But I just love those waves because they're so Japanese with their art. There's a very famous, well, there's a couple. There's the one of Mount Sinai, isn't there? But there's also this one with the wave. Here's our 3. Very RWS. 4. I think this 5 of coins has to be one of the most beautiful 5 of coins. And you all know the 5 of coins is a very personal card for me. But look at that. And you have to, when I first saw this card, I thought this was like a decorative tree or bush. But when you look closer, because it's quite shadowy, you see it's this girl and she's crying, she's hot, she's got her hands covering her face. She's in distress, she's on the outside in the cold, in the snow. But look at the glow from that window. Zoom. It might get a bit distorted, but I think it's beautiful, beautiful card. And we have our 6, the card of discernment, is holding out their hands, having to make that judgment. 7, working the land. 8. Nice 5, yes it is. I think the 9 is beautiful. She's in her garden, she's got the bird. It's not a hooded bird that she's in control of. It's one that's just come to greet her. Oh, look at her, showing her legs. Love her bodice. Yeah, beautiful colours, this deck. And for the coins, because it's earth, you are getting these earthy colours as well. So that's what I was saying with the miners. They're very in keeping with the energy of the suit. Forever Whereafter asked if there was only 9 swords on the 10. Oh, I'll come back to the swords then because I'm nearly at the end of the pentacles. There is our 10, that family scene. No little dog. But... and then we have our page. And our knight. With their coins. And then our queen, which is so beautiful. My favourite queen in the deck. And the king. Both very young as well. It's a very youthful deck, this one. Okay, so somebody asked about the 9 of swords. This card, the Nightmare card, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Was that the one you was on about? Oh, the 10. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, I think there might only be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think you might be right. Have a look with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Unless that one in the middle is 2. I don't think it is though. Really coming down now. Oh, you got rain. Okay, there was another question, wasn't there, from somebody. Could you ask me again? So that is the I don't know how that's happened. That's the Mystical Manga Tarot by Ron and guidebook by Barbara Moore. Fab set. You can tell by the golden hilts there is 10, says Shane. Yes, I think you're right. So if we look under my trusted magnifying glass, there, I think it's because we class that as 1, but you're right. Is 1 on top of the other because the rest don't have 2 hilts. What deck is behind you in your 3-card spread? That's the J.K. Waite. J.K. Waite Tarot. I forgot that was there actually. That was from this morning, my reading from this morning. What else? Okay, bye Rochelle. Notice he has a dirty nail. Did you notice that? I was like, gosh, that finger looks terrible. All I can think it is, because I've not been anywhere, is when I did my potatoes earlier. They were quite, but yeah, I've sorted it now. All right, Adam. Highlighting it. What deck is used in your 3-card spread? Yeah, got all that. Don't miss a trick. You don't, do you? Well, they're nice and clean now. I don't know what it was, but I noticed it too. I was like, ooh. And I'm proud of my nails. I don't have dirty nails. Okay, so anything else? We're coming up to dead on the hour. So next week's choices for decks, we will have the Parpolka again going up, and it's going to go up with the Victorian Romantic Tarot. Okay, so it's going to be the Parpolka Marseille or the Victorian Romantic Tarot. So that'll be the choice for next week. All right, I will be back tomorrow. I've got a deck walkthrough to do tomorrow. And then Saturday, 4 p.m. is my interview with Giselle from the channel Mad Witch. Really looking forward to that. She's a friend of mine, somebody who I've met and spent time with, but I've not seen for over 18 months. So looking forward to having a good natter and a catch up with her. So hopefully you'll be able to join me then. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy the rest of the week. It's Friday tomorrow. And yeah, thank you for being here over the last hour. And until next time, guys, go in peace. Namaste and blessed be.